My first day in Italy, registration day, and the dormitory. When I walked into the university building for the first time, I felt two completely different emotions at the same time: excitement and fear. Everything around me was unfamiliar. The language, the people, the system. But deep inside, I knew this was exactly where I was supposed to be. Entering the university, I slowly walked through the large wooden doors of the university building. Inside, the atmosphere felt calm but busy at the same time. Students were everywhere. Some were sitting on the stairs talking. Some were carrying books and laptops. Others were walking quickly through the hallways like they already knew exactly where they were going. I stood near the entrance for a few seconds and looked around. The building looked old and beautiful. The walls were covered with paintings and university notices. The floor made soft, echoing sounds every time someone walked. I tightened my grip on my folder of documents. Passport, visa papers, scholarship letter, admission documents. I checked them again, even though I had already checked them at least 10 times since leaving my country. I was nervous something might go wrong. Looking for the registration office. I opened the map the university had emailed me before my trip. International Students Office, second floor. I followed the sign slowly. The hallways felt like a maze. There were so many classrooms, offices, and doors. At one point, I accidentally walked into the wrong corridor and ended up near the library. I smiled awkwardly at myself. Great start, Sarah, I whispered quietly. Finally, after a few minutes, I found the office. There was already a line of students waiting outside. Most of them looked international too. Some were speaking English. Some were speaking languages I didn't recognize. For the first time that day, I realized something comforting. I wasn't the only one feeling lost. Meeting other international students. I sat down on a chair near the wall while waiting for my turn. Next to me was a girl with curly brown hair and glasses. She looked around nervously, just like me. After a few moments, she smiled politely. "Are you here for registration too?" she asked. "Yes," I answered. "I just arrived today." "Me too," she said with a relieved smile. Her name was Sophia. She was from Spain and had also come for her master's degree. We started talking quietly while waiting. She told me she had arrived the night before and got completely lost trying to find her hotel. I laughed. That's probably going to happen to me too. Talking to her made me feel calmer. Sometimes meeting someone in the same situation makes everything feel easier. The registration process. After almost 30 minutes, my name was finally called. I stood up quickly and walked into the office. A middle-aged woman sat behind a desk covered with papers and folders. She smiled kindly. "Good morning. Passport, please." I handed her my documents carefully. She checked everything one by one. Sometimes she typed on her computer. Sometimes she looked at my papers silently. Those few minutes felt much longer than they actually were. I kept thinking, what if I forgot something? What if one document is missing? What if there's a problem with my scholarship? Finally, she looked up and smiled again. "Everything looks good." At that moment, I felt my entire body relax. I didn't even realize how stressed I had been until that moment. She gave me several papers to sign. Then she handed me a student information package. Inside were maps, schedules, student cards, and university information. "You are officially registered," she said. Hearing those words felt unreal. I was officially a student in Italy. After leaving the office, I felt mentally exhausted. My head was full. New information, new names, new places. I decided to sit down at the small university cafe near the entrance. The smell of coffee filled the air. Students were sitting at tables studying, talking, and laughing. I ordered a cappuccino and sat near the window. Outside, the city looked peaceful in the afternoon sunlight. For the first time since arriving, I finally allowed myself to relax for a moment. I took out my phone and texted my family. "Registration is done. Everything is okay." A few seconds later, my mother replied, "I'm proud of you." Reading those words made my eyes water a little. I suddenly missed home very much. Going to the dormitory. After finishing my coffee, I checked the dormitory address again. The university had arranged a room for me because of my scholarship. I followed the directions on my phone and walked to the nearby bus stop. This time, I felt slightly more confident than before. Not completely comfortable, but less afraid. The bus ride to the dormitory area took around 20 minutes. As I looked outside the window, I noticed more details about the city. Small bakeries, people riding scooters, old apartment buildings with flower pots on the balconies. Everything looked cinematic to me, like I was inside a movie. Arriving at the dormitory. When I finally arrived at the dormitory building, the sun was starting to set. The building was modern but simple. Several students were entering and leaving with backpacks and suitcases. I stood outside for a moment and stared at the entrance. This was going to be my home now. I walked inside slowly. The reception area was small but warm. A young man at the front desk greeted me politely. "Check in?" "Yes," I answered nervously. I gave him my passport and dormitory documents. He searched my name on the computer and handed me a key card. "Room 314, he said. Then he pointed toward the elevator. My heart started beating fast again. I suddenly realized something. In a few minutes, I would meet my roommate for the first time. Outside room 314. The hallway on the third floor was quiet. I slowly pulled my suitcase behind me until I found the number. 314. I stood in front of the door for a few seconds. Tired. Nervous. Excited. I took a deep breath and held the key card in my hand. Behind this door was another completely new part of my life. And honestly, I had no idea what was waiting for me inside. I slowly opened the door, and the first thing I saw was ending of episode 2. To be continued.